Hi, it's Alistair Horsburgh here, CEO of See It Now. Got some interesting slides for you here on a survey that we've completed in 2020. I'd like to just take you through that and look back initially at 2020, but we're going to try and take you through those slides and give you some information. Driving engaging customer experiences is the topic. And if we kind of start by looking at 2020, I know that people don't want to look back too much into the year of the beginning of the pandemic. The reality is that we just need to step back a little bit just to try and look at what we're going to do differently in 2021. A lot of negative outcomes, we know that. And one of the big positives that came out of it was the transformation of digital technology. Lots of organisations making lots of changes. There was a Twilio study that was written in 2020 that said the average company actually accelerated their technology by 5.3 years. So a lot of change coming. Technology definitely continues to develop across automotive. Every year, businesses utilise more and more technology methods to increase their internal processes and get better experiences. And whilst there's a lot of ups and downs, and we're now into lockdown 3 here in the UK, once we got through that first lockdown, certainly lockdown 2 and now lockdown 3, a lot more dealerships are finding it easier to use digital tools to communicate with customers. And whilst showroom doors are closed, they can still use things like video to communicate with customers when they're not in the dealership. So this is the report that we're launching. It's accelerating the digital customer experience, and following the reflection on what we did in 2020, we're now going to look forward to 2021. So what do customers want from their automotive experience, and how can See It Now help to achieve that? So we're pretty excited to launch our latest content piece at the AM Live. Accelerating the digital customer experience is something that we pulled together from quite a comprehensive survey that we've run. And the aim of the content piece is to understand what customers really want from their digital experience. And with those insights, how can we help customers to better connect, help dealerships to better connect with their customers and utilise digital communication in a way they've perhaps not done so before. So we're going to look through this particular report. We're going to pick out some of the findings and we're going to share that today. And please don't forget, come along and visit us at Hall 1, Booth 3, and get yourself a copy of the report, and you can see more information about what I'm going to present today. So a little bit of background. In order to create this report, we actually surveyed 1,500 people. We looked at 500 people in the dealership environment. We looked at 1,000 consumers. And just to spend a bit of time on the demographic, about 20% of those industry people were managers. Nearly 50% of those were actually sales execs, and the balance were a combination of technicians and other functions within dealerships. So that was what the industry 500 looked like. If you take the demographic of the 1,000 consumers, we're around about 26%. We're in the 31 to 40 category. 51-year-olds were about 45% of the category, and the split between gender was about 55% female and 45% male. So it gives you a broad demographic view in terms of the type of people that we've surveyed. And over the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to try and share what the findings were and offer some practical advice around better customer experiences. So whilst we're doing that, as part and parcel of the conversation and the questions that we asked, we went back to 2017 and we looked at the differences in people's experiences in that time, going right back to 2017 and looking at what people had in their view as a better or a parallel customer experience, and trying to figure out what would work better for them going forward. So as well as we're looking at these previous reports and the reports that we'd run in the past, we've actually looked at what car buyers want in their shopping experiences and their preferences, and what type of communication methods they want. So how are customers feeling and what are their needs is really part and parcel of what the survey was all about as well. So buyer confidence is about building this digital sphere. A third of customers, we know this already, a third of customers will consider buying the next car online, but it's important to realise that as the customers get more confident about this, they want more information, and they're not quite ready to do it in droves at the moment. Buyers are definitely becoming more open to online car purchases. We've seen the build-up of Kazoo and Kazam, etc., etc. And whilst we've got Rockar out there from a franchising perspective, I still don't quite think that the consumer's all together ready yet. And what we've seen with lockdown 2 and now lockdown 3 is the switch to click and collect, certainly in England. I know there's some questions around in Scotland about that, but the consumer is certainly willing to adopt new technology when they have to do. The question is, when you look at this, the dealership itself, two out of three customers still want to go to a dealership to buy a car, and therefore this dealership and the dealership is going to be part and parcel of the customer journey for quite some time to come. The question is, how can you get the two ecosystems to operate side by side, and what is a real true omni-channel experience for a customer, and how can we affect that, and how can we help? So when we looked at the analysis, we said that when we were doing the surveys, omni-channel is the language that we're using for this. 54% of customers still wanted to go and visit the dealership. And, you know, if we look over time, classified websites, they've grown. So classified websites, the likes of Auto Trader and Car Gurus and a lot of the other brands that are coming on stream at the moment, that they've grown from 2017 at around 33% up to 45% in the latest survey that we've done. Online user reviews, linking somebody's experience. You know, if you're going on holiday, you kind of don't go on holiday or don't go and visit a restaurant unless you've looked at TripAdvisor. You won't necessarily look at all the negatives. You look at a blend of all the information that customers, you know, share in terms of their experiences, and you take a view based upon that. Dealers' websites, they've increased. If you look at dealer websites over manufacturer websites, for example, today, in the latest survey, 36% of customers would go to a manufacturer website, but 42% going to a dealer website. So having your stock online as fast as possible with the right digital assets is absolutely part and parcel of the most important thing to do. And if you, lastly, speaking to peers, we always know that customers sharing experiences is really important. And 72% of customers would share a good experience, which is 10% of those, or 10% higher than those sharing a negative experience. So, and that was recently surveyed out of a Salesforce report that came out called Connected Customer Research. So from See It Now's perspective, this is all about having good quality assets everywhere that your customers will visit, making sure that when you're using products to put digital assets online, video, photography, 360, utilizing the See It Now web application, we can do that. We can provide all these assets on the digital platforms that customers can consume, whether it's your own website, a manufacturer's website, or indeed a classified platform. So as we go into looking at how video has changed, so there's an increasing desire, has been an increased desire for video. One of the top requirements that would make customers buy a car from one dealership over another one is a walk around video. 44% of customers said that they would rank that at the top of the list. If you look at what customers are finding as far as video is concerned over 2017, so you can see there 73% of customers found video valuable as part of the customer experience, whereas the survey we've just done now, 84%, a slight as a 10% increase, looking at a video being a valuable and important part of that customer experience. And more than half of the customers that we surveyed would travel further if they had a personalized video walk around before they made that journey, or before they committed to finding out whether they moved to the dealership, take a test drive, or try to commit and place an order online. So customer service, expectations are higher than ever. I think it's fair to say that when we look at the top three for confidence, we know that money back guarantee and delivery are up there. Money back guarantee 44%, home delivery 39%, and the importance of in-person service, making sure that you deliver something that is specifically for that customer. And we started to break down how they fit within demographics. What you can't do is just deliver the same experience to every consumer. You really do need to start and think about who you're talking to and what the needs of those consumers are. And they are different depending on the age demographic that they've got. So online to offline experience is really, really key to this. And car walk around still come out at 44% in terms of doing a video, and making sure that your team are optimally, they know what they're doing when they're out walking around the car, video in the vehicle is absolutely key. So we've broken this down into three segments. This is very much about the new era of retailing. What can we do, and what are the most important aspects of retailing? So we've split them down into three areas: technology, services, and personalization. Anybody and everybody can have technology. The question is, you've got to be able to figure out how you use it properly, using it the right way, making sure that you've got the right principles in place for communicating through that technology, and not just ticking a box, doing the least I possibly can do to respond to a customer. Doing a good quality video walk around is something that is imperative, not just a 5-second or a 10-second, yes, the car's still available, pick up the phone and give me a call. So making sure you utilize the technology that's in place. Services catered to growing online demand is still there. So what services have you got, whether it's some kind of live chat, whether it's some kind of other digital piece of tool, whether it's a CRM product, etc., talking to a customer, making sure those services are all in place. And finally, personalization is very much key. If we can't personalize these customer experiences, then they don't feel that they're for them. So making sure that the personality of the salesperson comes through, and making sure that you've got that linked into your communication strategy to cater to the wide variety of needs, and we'll share that shortly, in terms of what customers are looking for is absolutely imperative. So technology needs to be used in conjunction with your services and personalization so that you can stand out from the crowd and meet the customer's experiences. So going to go and do some more industry stats here. So when we looked at the 500 automotive professionals, and bear in mind, as I said, 50% are sort of sales execs, about 20% were managers. So it gives you a blend of what we were looking at there, and a blend between mainly focused towards salespeople and sales environments rather than after sales. But looking at what those dealership staff came back and said, 93% of automotive professionals see video as a key tool to keep in touch with their customers. And in the pandemic through 2020, 83% have invested in improving their contactless communications this year. So, and it's no surprise that the acceleration of digital has gone through the pandemic. Everybody's had to do it, so it was a fait accompli. It had to happen. And 91% plan to increase their video usage from a customer communication point of view. And we've seen that through our statistics. We're doing 1 million videos a month across 60 countries around the world. And we're continuing to see an improvement and a volume improvement in terms of video. Consumers want it. More videos are being created than ever before, and the industry is more than ready, and consumers want it. So join the two of them together and be part of the journey. We've also got the pleasure of hearing from Colin McAllister, who's the Group Training and Development Manager from John Clark Motor Group, just on his experiences of him and his dealership staff and team utilising both recorded and live video through 2020. So we're going to hear from him now, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
So hi there, I'm Colin McAllister. In case you can't recognise the background logo, I'm the Group Training and Development Manager with the John Clark Motor Group. We really had to focus on our digital communications. We really had to focus on making sure that they're right, so the templates that we use are pertinent to the customer, they're personalised to the customer. That leads me nicely into how we've used See It Now and their technology in the process, because one of the ways of adding value to the car is by doing a really good, high quality 360-degree presentation video of the car. So we're going to do that presentation of the vehicle, making sure that we focus and highlight on the car. The other thing that we've used with See It Now, which they provided to us, it must have been June actually, was a thing called See It Now Live. And I tell you, that has been a revolutionary. It's been fantastic. So one of the things with See It Now, you've got a See It Now persona. So you're like, hi, I'm Colin McAllister from the John, and I probably started this video like this, but I'm Colin McAllister from the John Clark Motor Group. And you get into this kind of persona, and you've got a customer going, aye, but has it got 20-inch alloys on it or what? And you're still being that person. Whereas if you were face to face with them, you'd go, aye, it is sweet to see this. And you would be the same. You would mirror that customer. What we found with See It Now Live is the salespeople are more relaxed, because they're having a live interaction with a customer. When a customer asks a question, they can instantly answer the question. When a customer raises an objection, they can actually handle that objection really quickly. So it's been a fantastic tool. And I think that's probably something that See It Now we're playing with. And because of COVID, they've accelerated that. We grabbed it as soon as it came out and thought, yeah, we're having some of that. That's a terrific product. And it's been terrific for us. So the sites that have got it have really, really embraced it. And it's become part of our whole online sales model. It was only last night Chris Clark, our managing director, did an email out about the current trading situations, and he said, make sure we're doing see it now live appointments with customers, so that we can show them the vehicles. The other benefit is the customer can show us their vehicle. This has been a fantastic product for us, where we can video their car, we can see it, and then we can actually put an accurate value on the vehicle and give them a proper transaction price, and then we can secure the business live on the call. It's been absolutely fantastic for us. So, in summary, COVID has taught us a lot of lessons. It's made us advance what we do. It's made us become more professional in how we use our digital technology, and how we embrace digital technology, and how we use that to really interact with our customers and get them to buy into us and buy the vehicles from us. And CNI has been a fundamental part of that, with the multi-part CNI videos, and particularly CNI Live. I don't know if you picked up how excited I am about that product, but it has been terrific.
So it was good to hear from Colin there in terms of the type of uses they had for live and recorded video. And what I'm going to do now is share a little bit more information from the survey in terms of what the different demographics gave us feedback on and what was important to them. And you can take this information and use it in your dealership, and hopefully it's got some meaning for you. The 1,000 customers that we surveyed, with a bit of luck, it's a reasonably good population split to try and do that. So businesses need to think about the profile of the customers that they're talking to, and communicate accordingly, whether they are of a particular age, whether they're male or female. I think that it's really, really important that that existing dealership staff understand the way that they can communicate with different types of people, and make sure that they are on point when it comes down to what these particular demographics are looking for. So I'm going to spend a bit more time talking about them now. So if we look at live video, okay, live video, is it the future? Well, actually, as an organisation, we started out as a live video platform back in 2008, very much before its day. Today, live video is still in its infancy. Having said that, there is a pent-up demand, certainly in lockdown 3, as we've just started now. We've just seen a spike of our live video volume, certainly in sales departments, where dealership staff now are starting to look at using live video more and more as a way to do two-way communication in the event where a customer clearly can't visit a dealership. So if we look at how customers view speed of response, and I think this is really interesting. So if you look at 18 to 30-year-olds, 50% of them they value that speed of response. But if you go down to 41 to 50-year-olds, it's not as important. What's more important to them is the information that you provide, not the speed in which you do it. So retailers definitely need to look at new ways of communicating to be relevant and to be accessible. Speed of response is one thing for 18 to 30s, but if you're starting to look at 41 to 50-year-olds, what is the most important thing that you can share with them, and how can you get the best bang for your buck? What is it you can do to share information with those customers? And so we're going to spend a bit more time on that. If we start to look at where the biggest change, we believe where the biggest change is going to come over the next 5 years is what's going to happen about buying cars online. There's a lot, and we've already mentioned, there's a lot of platforms out there that you can just simply go to buy a car online. But is anybody really doing that blend where you can, have a dealership having a customer out on a test drive, but also people looking at that car online and trying to buy it online? It's an interesting conundrum, and I think it's one of the things that software is going to fix. And definitely, how will we manage to have this customer, this sort of digital and physical customer, sort of existing in the same ecosystem at the same time? So if we look at the 31 to 40-year-olds, half of the 31 to 40-year-olds would actually, consider buying the next car online. But as we detailed in this group, what does it look like? Informative pre-sales videos could be key to securing online sales in an already engaged group. What can you do with those videos to really personalize and help form that connection? What can you do to stand out from the crowd? And I think that personality, patience, spending time, understanding what the customer's needs are, and really focusing on recording a video or doing a live video with a customer, asking them specific questions around what it is that particular customer is looking at this vehicle for. What are the main features? Why is it really going to suit their needs, etc., etc. And instead of just offering a phone call, why not do a live video? The platform is there and it's available to be used, and it's better than just a voice at the end of it. And we all know, yeah, doing a FaceTime is a little bit strange to start off with, but we come out of a year of everybody going Zoom blind at some point, or Microsoft Teams, or et cetera, et cetera. So there is a growing willingness for more and more consumers to be part and parcel of video, and certainly live video is in there. When we look at the 40 plus car buyers, what do they have? Well, the two top things, money back guarantee and home delivery, were absolutely in there as being the top features that those 40 plus people wanted to have. And having a dealership actually being able to go and test drive that customer's car, or test drive that car, is so important in that customer's buying journey. So information about that vehicle, spending more time, being more thorough about what you share with that customer in the digital journey, specifically, what can they actually know? What does it feel like sitting in the driver's seat? Can you record a video and share that experience with the customer to give them more confidence that visiting the dealership when you can is the right thing to do? And how can you overcome the objections now? So we know that a lot of dealership staff are still carrying on selling vehicles. Maybe customers do want to test drive vehicles. Well, as a business policy, you can decide whether you're going to take a deposit and arrange test drives in a future event when you can do, or whether it's click and collect and a money back guarantee, whichever it needs to be. So I think it's fair to say that there's a lot of information that people require to make online buying journeys, and we know that the perception from an OEM perspective is different to a retailer's perspective. And I think this online buying journey is going to be a blend, and I think that journey is going to be quite an interesting one over the next 5 years. So if we then a little bit of more research around the difference between male and female consumers and prospects, I think that it's a surprising statistics that we found. Men are twice as likely to receive a video than women in the car buying process. And we don't really know why, because women still rank a walk around video as their top requirement. So why would dealerships not be sending as many videos to female inquiries as male inquiries? We really don't know. But what I would say to you, in your dealership, make sure that every single inquiry, be it male, be it female, they're all receiving a personalized video. It's 80% of women say they found it a valuable part of the buying process. 88% of men said they found it a valuable part of the buying process. So regardless of gender, there should be no reason why any type of customer, male or female, doesn't receive a video. So it breaks down the perceived barriers, and actually for a female inquiry, showing the person that is recording and sending the video in the dealership is another barrier to break down, so that when the customer does visit the dealership, they already know what the salesperson looks like, they know where to go, they can be signposted, and walking across that threshold into the dealership when allowed is definitely going to be more straightforward and easier at that time. So let's spend a bit more time now looking at the dealership side. So this is very much around what you as retailers need to think about and how technology can affect the way that you do business. So when we looked and we surveyed the 500 dealer staff, 76% of retailers were concerned about the customer relationship and whether that customer relationship would change by utilizing technology and digitalization. So video is a perfect solution. It's a perfect piece of technology to use. Having the salesperson meet the customer and vice versa on live, or just having the customer meet the salesperson on a recorded video, is definitely going to bring you some extra brownie points in terms of looking at that customer. When you look at the over 50s, 40% of the over 50s would choose one dealership over another based upon a better relationship or more trust. And that trust and relationship, that integrity, is delivered via video. If you can show a customer that the car exists, that it's in the color that you said, with the mileage on the speedometer and the specification that's been described on the classified platform or your website, and you can show that on a video, the customer is much more likely to be engaged with you and much more likely to trust you as a retailer. Over 40% and almost half of female buyers ranked personal interaction as one of the most important aspects of video. So really speaking the customer's name as part and parcel of that video. There's nothing more frustrating for us watching videos where you don't mention the customer's name, or even more importantly, the salesperson doesn't show themselves on the camera. These are really, really important things for the consumer. You know, vanity is kind of out the window. It really doesn't make any difference what you look like. Every salesperson has got the same situation. Customers don't really care what you look like or what you sound like. They just care about whether you can give that customer a good experience, they can trust you, and they can believe in you to be able to buy their next vehicle from you. And almost 40% of 18 to 30-year-olds value video as a way to build up trust and that integrity with the retailer. So every single one of these routes leads back to utilizing video better in the sales process and spending more time trying to work out how you can engage customers by using different methods. It's not just about having the same pattern, the same routine for every customer. You really do need to think about who you're talking to and making sure you're making it relevant for that particular demographic and that particular type of customer. So if we boil all this lot down and we look into the sort of the common principles, as we would call it, and what the experience of both us doing this for 12 years, the retailer world that we work with, doing business in 60 countries around the world, it very much falls down into these sort of guiding principles. So responsiveness, transparency, flexibility, and reliability. And none of this is new. You know, all of this is just about trying to be as informative as you possibly can do. But when we analyze the results from the surveys that we've done, these common principles they just shine through every time. So responsiveness. Customers need to feel that you're there for them. If they don't, they don't buy from you. So being approachable, easily contactable, whether it is face-to-face when you can do that, by phone, by live video, by recorded video, it's just about, you know, showing the patience and making sure that all their questions are answered, no matter how trivial they are. It really doesn't matter. Customer needs to have confidence, and that responsiveness will shine through. Transparency. The industry's got a name for itself, but video is definitely helping to overcome that transparency issue. You know, making sure all the information is available. When you're doing a walk around video on a vehicle, make sure you show every panel, talk about the whole vehicle, show the customer inside, show them in the engine bay, show them in the boot as well. You know, have no wariness. Make sure that the customer's got no doubt about the fact that that vehicle will be for them. Being flexible. So customers are quite happy. They'll move tomorrow, they'll move today, the next minute. If you don't give the customer what they want, they'll just go somewhere else. So having the flexibility, trying to be as incentives are all there, whether you're giving discounts, whether you're giving, you know, part exchange evaluations. And if you are giving part exchange evaluations where customers can't visit the showroom, think about how you can get to see the customer's vehicle. So using See It Now Live, you can definitely do that. If you can't do that, get photographs, get the customer to send you a video, whatever it needs to be. So that flexibility is there, and showing the customer that you are prepared to move a little bit in terms of what the customer's looking for is absolutely key. And then reliability to finish up with. A big part of this is all about trust and never letting the customer down, whether it's through, you know, delivery delay, whether it's through specification, etc., etc. It's always about under-promising and over-delivering rather than the other way around. And again, none of that should be any rocket science. So if we look at trying to bring all of that together, video is definitely a solution to blend physical and digital. And if we try to break down some of the ideas and some of the best uses we've got for video, and we look at the 12 years of experience we've got, even though See It Now is evolving and a lot of different uses of video over the last 12 months, I'll try and categorize those for you. So following up and keeping in touch with customers before, after sales appointments, and also before sales appointments, providing the option of both live and recorded video to suit the customer. Bearing in mind that live video can be started whenever you need to do. You can see two ends. The customer doesn't have to switch on their camera if they don't want to, but if you want them to turn it on so you can see a part exchange, then it's definitely valuable. Explaining the flexibility of delivery options available, whether it's click and collect, whether it's delivery, etc., etc. But more importantly, showing the customer what facilities are available at your dealership. Building transparency with clear workshop videos, satisfying the customer that what work you're carrying out in the dealership when the car's on the ramp, making sure that it's as informative as possible, and making your videos personalized to the customer. You know, address their need, their pain points, etc., etc., and any walkthrough of any finance to aid any clarity and any transparency in the process. So, It's just some ideas around what you can use video for, and certainly the changes that we've seen just over and above just doing a standard response to an inbound inquiry. These are the things that we're now starting to see more video content done for. So if we look at the key takeaways, these bullets really sort of sum up where we see the takeaways from the survey. So if you can imagine the customer pain points, how has this year affected your customers? We know it's affected retailer staff, but how has it affected the customers? What can we do to make their life a lot easier? If you can understand what the customer's needs are, how can we address any reservations they've got, build any buyer confidence, etc., etc. Personalizing your videos. This is more than just their name. So just, so hello, Mr. Smith is just one thing, but how can you create a connection? What can you do that can help them to understand that you know what they're looking for, that you know what their interests are and their pain is as far as trying to buy a vehicle, etc., etc. And more importantly, analyze your own videos. As a sales team, sit down there and work out, what are we doing on videos? Are you making them more, are they invoking that emotion? How can you create better relationships by utilizing video, etc., etc. And the last point is building relationships, not just a sale. I know it's a bit old cliche, but very much about the customer relationship as a partnership rather than just making a sale and ticking it off on the whiteboard, etc., etc. So different confidence levels of online purchase, research and video consumption are all part and parcel of this. And if we then sort of wrap this up into, we've got this brand new report, come along to the booth, the content's available, you can download it, we're Hall 1, Booth 3. There's lots of information. The team are there to help in terms of responding to any questions and comments that we've got from this report, but also more importantly, anybody wanting to talk to us, either an existing customer or a new customer wanting to use video for the first time, we're there to help you and to enhance your showroom experience for the customer. And happy to take any questions.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here now live with Alistair Horsburgh of See It Now. I think we've got 5, probably a maximum of 10 minutes to go through some questions. If you haven't already posted your question, then please do. But we've got a handful here to be getting on with. So if you don't mind, Alistair, we'll dive straight in.
Sure.
So a question submitted here: have you seen increased use of video throughout 2020, and have dealers adopted more inventive ways of using video? What stood out?
Yeah, I think if we take the UK, the 3 lockdowns, so 1, 2, and 3. 1 definitely went backwards because of obviously showrooms closing and not being able to work out how to operate. Workshops stayed open, but then lockdown 2 and now lockdown 3, video volumes have gone up. So we've seen a greater number of videos being recorded for a longer period of time, and the watch rates on those videos are also, they're up quite considerably. So we're definitely seeing some standout examples on handover videos. We're seeing a lot of videos done for pre-handover as well as the actual handover, and we're seeing an awful lot of people attending live sessions, because you can start a live session from a See It Now app as well, and as a result of it, we're seeing a lot more of that content. So definitely some unusual use cases, but the majority of them seem to be around how they can operate click and collect and with the showrooms closed.
Okay, and is that, another question here, is that reflected in dealers' websites? Do dealers need to transform their websites from content and information to real tools that enable consumers to find out more?
I think that's a very good point, to be fair. I mean, for the last 4 or 5 years, dealers have adopted things like, request a personalized video off their website. People like Auto Trader do that. Some of the manufacturer websites do that, and also some of the G-Forces and the Blue Skies will do that. So I think enabling the customer to have an ability to request a personalized video is definitely something to do. And if you can, our See It Now sales, our web application allows you to create stock video and stock assets to be able to put on classified platforms as well. So if you want to know more about that, you can jump to our stand and we can give you some more information. But definitely we're seeing our web video content being played more. So customers are definitely consuming that kind of media. Okay.
Question here: how do you see the digitalization of customer experiences impacting the way after sales roles are being performed? For example, a service advisor carrying out the job now versus in the future.
Yeah, so I think that there's we're fortunate enough to be able to work, we're working in 60 countries around the world. So we see different things operating. People like Volvo are trialing Volvo Personal Services, it's probably called, other things in other markets, where the technician is the service advisor. So you've got two people working on one vehicle and you've got one person talking to a customer. I don't really know whether that is the future. I think it's a different skill set personally. A technician has got a slightly different skill set to somebody who's a customer service advisor. There's a different relationship. However, we all know, going back years, customers do want to talk to the technician, but we find the best way to do that is to let them record a video, and that they are, it's like walking into a doctor's surgery. Who do you want to see? Do you want to see the receptionist, or do you want to see the doctor? Well, I want to see the doctor. So everybody wants to talk to the technician, but the best way to do that is let them narrate a video, explain what's wrong with their vehicle, and the service advisor can learn from it and explain that to the customer as well.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Question here, Peter Vardy spoke earlier about specialist sales teams this morning and video creation. Will this become a specialist skill in the future, or will it be shared across teams?
So I think we've seen this before. I mean, I was a sales manager in the mid-90s, and I had an internet sales team towards the latter end of those 90s. So whether you call it an internet team, whether you call it a digital team or a video team or an asset collection team, there's lots of different versions of this. Some of the manufacturers did product experts or product specialists. Some of the brands and groups have done that. So I do think that there is a skill set of people who can capture assets that they can use to share those assets with customers. But I wouldn't ignore the fact that, what the customer wants is they want an experience. They want to be able to have some personalization. And I wouldn't, suggest that one person sends all the videos to a customer, because that doesn't really work for me. I think that the salesperson and the customer need to build up a relationship. The best way that they can do that is by the salesperson sharing a video with the customer. They get to know the salesperson. You get to see what they look like, what they sound like, and you get to build up a picture of how you can feel about working with them and trusting them, etc., etc. So I do think that there is the one twist on this, in my opinion, is that I don't think dealerships think enough about what content they should share depending on the demographic and the gender of the customer that they're sending the video to. So I do think there's more time should be spent thinking, is this customer in that category, in that category? It's often very difficult. You don't ask a customer on an inquiry, how old are you, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer? So that's very, very difficult. But I do think that dealerships can try a lot harder to try and personalize that customer journey. And I'm not convinced it can be done from one department solely. However, we are seeing that in lockdown at the moment. Definitely in lockdown 3, salespeople are sending videos to customers where some salespeople are furloughed, for example. So there's a lot of that going on. I'm just not convinced it's just from one team.
Yeah, okay, good. I think we'll go for one last question, and then any more that are submitted, perhaps people can pop to your virtual booth in Hall 1 and kind of follow them up further there. So you just talked about personalization. Also, Colin McAllister in your video earlier had talked about live interaction quite in depth. Do you think live video will take over from recorded video, or do both still have a role?
It's a really good question. Some people may know we started as a live video company back in 2008, and it was very much ahead of its day. We moved to a recorded video platform in 2012, and mainly because you couldn't get both parties together at the same time. So what we've seen, we do on average about 40 to 45,000 videos a day. Sales and after sales videos get done on a daily basis in lots of countries around the world. And yet on live sessions, we're lucky if we see 1,000. So there's still quite a big proportional difference between doing a live video and doing a recorded video. And I do think some of that comes down to confidence and needs must. We've seen a huge spike of live video because showrooms are closed. Some dealer groups have really embraced this, and they've used it as the only means of contact because the doors are closed in the showroom. You haven't got a choice. It'll be interesting when the showrooms open again, whether that stays. But I think that recorded video is around for quite some time, and live video has its place. It will not overtake recorded video, not for quite a long time.
Okay, fantastic, lovely. We're going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid, Alistair. Thank you, thank you for that. As I say, if you want to, audience, thank you for your questions. If you want to continue the conversation, then pop along to See It Now stand in Hall 1. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Tim.